Spring makes you wonder what summer's going to look like when you've got that much snow still on the ground. And a clipper system rolling through that's going to continue snow and gusty winds across the region today.
Yeah, you see we've got some wind alerts into western parts of New York. There's Watertown on the map, Rochester into Buffalo. We're expecting wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour, maybe a few isolated gusts even stronger than that.
And you know what? They're going to be coming in out of the west, which could cause, especially off of Lake Ontario, some lakeside flooding, lake effect flooding near Watertown. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. If you live near the shore, if you have interest near the shore, know that that's going to be a problem. That clipper system, as it moves through the northern half of the region, is going to bring rain and snow and keep things very cool in the 30s and 40s.
And we've got this wide range of temperatures for today. As far as highs up into Portland, it's going to be 39 degrees. But look, as we get to the south of the region, Washington, D.C., 70 degrees, Richmond, 73 this afternoon.
And these are very important temperatures to keep in mind because these are the states that could start talking about a chance of snow into the evening and overnight hours. So we've got this clipper system showing you one computer model because there are several different ones that have different depictions of what we can expect with the snow potential tonight. Wanted to show you the NAM. If that means anything to you, this is what we're looking at. We've got that clipper, widespread, wet, slushy, couple of inches of snow, just like Buffalo, as you saw. But now, taking the clock tonight into tomorrow, you can see it sets up a band across southern parts of the region. Now, this model itself is very much on the heavier side. And you can see as we take it into Monday, we've got another wave of snow coming in for the same spot.
Yeah, it looks like there could be several inches in that particular area. That's why we do have some winter weather alerts that have been issued. We are expecting, again, 1 to 4 inches into parts of Kentucky, into West Virginia. That's where we need to focus on. But there could be some more counties added to this if things really start to come together.
If we can get those temperatures to drop. That's the thing, guys. You see those highs near 70 today. They've got a long way to plummet. But if we can go back, I'll show you why with this blast, this massive, look at how huge that blast of cold air is. It's very powerful. So really either one, the warm air or the cold air could win out.
You know, and it's April. You know, it's supposed to be spring, but look at the temperatures. Look at the change in Washington, D.C. 70 today, but just in the low 40s tomorrow. And that might even be hard to come by with a mostly cloudy sky. It might actually be closer to hovering in the upper 30s all day.
And what's crazy is we should be in the mid 60s. So talking about several days in a row in the low to mid 40s, that's almost 20 degrees below average for this time of year. And as we mentioned, there's another storm system that could bring more snow into early next week. So we want to break it down for you. Like we said, we've got a couple of different models. Think in different ways with tonight's snow because of those temperatures. So earlier we showed you the NAM. Now I want to show you our in-house model. It's called the BAMS. This is how that depicts tonight's snow going. We've got that clipper system through the northeast today, gusty winds right on that rain snow line for many. If you do see snow, just a couple of inches of very wet and slushy potential. Into the overnight hours tonight, that system works to the northeast. And then on the tail of this, we have this stalled out front. And you can see the rain possible across Virginia, across Kentucky, West Virginia, and into Maryland. This model doesn't really have a whole lot of snow. So you could be waking up on Saturday morning with as much as 1 to 4 inches, maybe some icing included within that, or it might just be a bust because our temperatures can't get low enough. But it looks like Charleston, you've got a good shot at seeing those lows dropping back below freezing. D.C., Richmond, it could be a different story. We're going to keep a close eye on the temperatures and the snow potential, as well as the severe storm potential coming with the same system in your top weather stories throughout the rest of the day today. So stay with us. We'll continue with some cloud cover and rain in southern parts of the region through the day on Saturday. Otherwise, most of the northeast will look clear and quiet and cool. We saw that massive blast of cold air. We're talking highs in the 30s and 40s across the region. A far cry from the 60s and 70s. We've got a bit more continuing activity as that low works its way off of the coastline. We're going to keep an eye on coastal areas of the northeast. Should this get a bit farther west with its track, we could be talking about some coastal areas of rain and snow. But you know what? So can the rest of the country, Patrick, because we've got a lot more energy where this comes from, and it's all going to be moving east.
Very busy for Weather Nation. We've got so much to talk about. Now we're going to talk more about that snow. I want to show you the very latest here.
You know what? That's pretty much the only part of the southeast, the southern part of the state of Florida, that's going to be looking great here in the next couple of days. So just when we're going through this forecast, just keep that in your mind. Sunny and 85, because that's what we've got a shot at across much of South Florida. The rest of the region, not so lucky. This is going to be our top weather story by far, an enhanced risk of severe storm thunderstorms through the day.
Yeah, you can see that enhanced. It does extend into parts of Mississippi. That slight goes into southern Alabama as well. So this is going to be the big story. Of course, we need to watch into parts of East Texas, northern Louisiana, and southern Arkansas for that risk of severe weather, and it does extend into Jackson, Mississippi as well.
We've already seen some strong storms in the form of heavy rainfall and lots of lightning early today. Those are going to get even more powerful as they push south and southeast overnight. And then as we get into the afternoon hours tomorrow, that cold front stays strong, giving us a slight risk from North Florida all the way through the Carolina coastline.
And when we have the slight risk, that's an isolated chance, or maybe a few severe thunderstorm chances are going to be mixing in there. It's that marginal risk where it's going to be more isolated. But Jacksonville, Savannah, Wilmington, all of you could see a few thunderstorms that might be severe with large hail and damaging winds.
Maybe even Augusta, Georgia, talking about some very strong storms into the day on Saturday. They have just a little golf tournament going on Saturday.
Yeah, it's, only one of the biggest ones of the year, and hopefully there are no delays or postponements for that Saturday forecast, but it looks like there's going to be some weather around, so I know a lot of the golfers are going to be looking to the sky on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, the meteorologists are going to earn their paycheck for the Masters coming up today, and everyone who's concerned about lightning and severe weather also needs to be concerned about flooding, because the Weather Prediction Center, who monitors chances for very heavy rainfall, are highlighting right in part of that enhanced risk, also a moderate risk of seeing flooding.
Yeah, that flood threat is going to be there. It's going to be that heavy rain. We're already seeing some heavy rain for the start of today, and there's going to be more on the way into parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. This does include Jackson up into Greenville.
Could be talking about inches of rainfall an hour in Jackson, Mississippi. Wow. You guys are going to kind of be the epicenter of the worst, unfortunately, in the southeast. We'll catch a break on Sunday as that moves through. But just as this first system leaves, we're going to warm back up and talk about another chance at storms into Monday.
Yeah, and Monday we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Maybe a few strong storms, can't completely rule that out. But then look at the warm air that builds in by the end of the week. Low 80s, likely feeling even warmer, though, when you include the humidity.
Yeah, if only we could get that to the rest of the country who has winter instead of spring. But we want to stay in the spring mode and talk more about this. Even though we tend to focus on the short-term forecast, we want to start talking about the long-term outlook, especially for tropical season as that starts up on June 1st. Yesterday, a big prediction came out from Colorado State University, and meteorologist Matt Monroe explains the details. Because we've got this lingering clipper system that's going to work its way out of the upper Midwest and into the Northeast. We still could be talking about a little bit of lake effect into Saturday morning, and thankfully Iowa, not too much longer left on your snow in southwestern parts of the state. That's going to move out pretty quickly overnight. High pressure moving in. So if you're a fan of sunshine, you don't have to wait much longer. That's going to really take over tomorrow. But the problem is, with clear skies and calm winds overnight, our overnight lows are going to drop back into the single digits and teens. You add in those blustery winds, as Patrick called them, that's going to take your wind chill values well down below zero. So a frigid start to Saturday morning, at least for the month of April, and a few clouds lingering into Saturday afternoon. But Saturday shouldn't be bad. Sunny, quiet, highs hopefully above freezing. Maybe we can hit 40 in southern parts of Iowa or southern parts of Michigan, but for the most part, it's going to be a clear but cool day. Then we start to work our way into Sunday and talk about that next wave of energy. If you've been joining us in our top weather stories, we've been talking a lot about that atmospheric river coming into California. This is the same storm system that's going to tap into that moisture. It's going to work its way through the Northwest and the high plains, and then on Sunday, move into Minnesota and Iowa, and you can see all this snow eventually by Sunday night into Wisconsin as well. High temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s. We could see some spots getting in on a bit of rain, but as we start to talk about Sunday night into Monday morning, temperatures dropping, more snow in Iowa, Wisconsin, and eventually working its way into Michigan for your Monday morning commute. And that's just going to keep on moving to the east, and we'll see that at least through Monday night. So not too much more snow left out there today or tonight, and then we're talking 1 to 3 inches, maybe even some isolated spots. More than that into Sunday and sunshine here in the next couple of hours. That could help to destabilize the atmosphere. We're also talking about a marginal risk from Little Rock to the Gulf Coast. We've got that slight risk through Mobile, Lake Charles, and up towards Waco. It's going to be a very active rest of the day today as those storms we saw right now in Oklahoma and Arkansas push east and southeast. Once they get into this enhanced risk, that is where we have the best chance chance at more widespread severe weather and possibly more significant severe weather. That means hail larger than 2 inches in diameter, as well as wind gusts greater than 70 miles per hour. We also can't rule out a couple of tornadoes, especially embedded within that powerful line that's going to bring us damaging winds as our primary threat through the rest of the day today. We'll show it to you on our high resolution model. It's really picking up on those strong storms very well. Those push east and southeast into the rest of the morning. And then once we hit the afternoon hours, watch as you see this big line starting to develop. But notice that these are still pretty individualized. That means they're still able to grab the ingredients for themselves. And then we see them kind of congealing into a more straight line. That is where those winds really start to come into play. So initially, when they're more individualized, we're talking about that tornado threat with a 5% risk. We're talking about that hail threat as well. The wind potential really taking in and taking over into the rest of the night tonight. And then it continues into the daytime tomorrow as well, Pat.
Santa Cruz looks like cloudy, maybe some light rain taking place there, but there could be some heavy rain and flooding potential, especially into northern California.
And some strong winds, and those winds coming in off of the Pacific, bringing all of that moisture, and it's coming straight from the tropics, all the way from Hawaii, just channeling into parts of the western U.S. We've got several storm systems, as you were highlighting, with that severe threat. But when you talk about consistent heavy rainfall of a half of an inch an hour or more, you start to talk about the threat of flooding, especially once you get up into the high country and you start to add some melting snow with that too.
Yeah, and you can see that rain is extending even into western Nevada, Reno. You're getting some of that rain for the start of today, and that's going to continue for you. You're included in a flood watch that's going to be lasting throughout Friday. That includes also Redding over to Fort Bragg, down towards the Santa Cruz area, even down south into Fresno. That flood watch is in effect.
And while this moisture is helping us to get closer and closer to average for precipitation this time of year, it can be too much of a good thing, considering what's happened over the last 5 to 8 years in California with drought conditions and wildfires. We still have a lot of burn-scarred areas out there where mudslides and debris flows could become serious problems. And in an instant like this, we turn to our self-proclaimed preparedness evangelist, John Van Pelt, for more information.